got this question today. Thought, you know what, we're going to answer it because this is one that we get often. If I have multiple herniated discs, more than one, can you help me? Or if I have one in my neck, in my low back, can you help me? It's a good question. They're hard to treat. Most places don't treat multiple herniated discs, certainly not surgeons. Just a quick summary. What is a herniated disc? 24 vertebrae between the head and the hips. In between each vertebrae there's a disc. And as that disc slowly breaks down, it's like a jelly donut, and as the outside of that jelly starts to break down, what can happen is it'll start to push out, and as it pushes out, you'll get tearing of the annulus, creates a highly inflammatory process. Nucleus, as the jelly pushes out even further, and sometimes pushes all the way through. And you can develop these in multiple areas in your spine. And what we do, which is, I'm going to get to the answer. The answer is yes, we can. But when you understand how we do what we do, it makes it more sensible. It makes more sense. So when these herniations push out, we have a process whereby we take pressure off the disc. We decompress the disc. And we do it standing, we do it lying down, and we do it seated. And this process alleviates the load on the disc. It's really the only process that does this. As it alleviates the load, it allows for that disc material to move back to the inside. So when it's herniated out, it looks like this on an MRI. And we have the ability to take pressure off, and it slowly moves back to the inside. We've been doing this 25 years. And we have the ability to solve the problem in the disc. You've seen these pictures before. But the question is, if you have multiple herniated discs, can you get better? So we had a young man, his name was Chase. He came from Ohio. He drove all the way up here, stayed here for 5 weeks in a hotel. Went through the program. He got better. Okay, he drove up here because he tried everything else and nothing was helping him. He had 3 herniated discs in his back. And they weren't little ones, they were big ones. And he got better. So the answer is yes. If you have multiple herniated discs, you can get better. It takes time. The longer you've had this, the longer it takes to get better, but they do get better. This is Dave. Dave came from Florida. Spent 5-6 weeks in a hotel. He had 2 herniated discs. One was 2 millimeters. Okay, wasn't a real big one, but it's enough to cause you a great deal of pain. And he had a 10 millimeter, which is a little bit bigger. And he got better. Again, he tried everything before he got here. Put his life on hold, flew up here, went through the program, got better. These conditions do get better. They take time. If you put forth the effort, it does take time. We did a study. 516 patients that herniated disc, they got better. That was all for the low back. This gentleman here had a herniated disc in his neck and his low back. We have the ability to unload the spine in all 3 areas, the cervical, the lumbar, thoracic, and cervical spine. We have the ability to take the load off the disc. So when you come in, if you have a herniated disc in your neck and your low back, we can treat that. And you will get better. It takes time. It takes time. So the National Institute of Health did a study. And what they were trying to identify is why so many surgeries fail. 20% of all surgeries wind up with a second surgery, very often within the same year. And if you're taking opioids, that percentage can be upwards of over 30%. So the likelihood of you getting more than one surgery is very high. And they wanted to identify why they're having so much problem with this. So it's a big problem. It's creating a great deal of havoc in people's lives. It's a very expensive process, and if you don't get better, it can be very expensive for the rest of your life. And what they found with these patients that went through the program and got the surgery and didn't get better was they were doing the surgery in the wrong area. They weren't resolving the problem where the problem existed. And they may have had multiple herniated discs and they may have taken the largest one out, but it wasn't necessarily the one that was causing you the pain, or all three were causing you the pain, or one was degenerated, one was bulging, and one was herniated. And very often they won't do it if you have multiple problems. But what they found was the patients weren't getting the proper surgeries and the pain wasn't going away. We did a study. There's a reason I'm telling you all this, because it makes more sense. We did a study with 1,200 patients. It's in review with a major medical journal right now. And in that study, 312 patients had had surgery before they came to see us. And these patients went through our program. At the end of the program, they were better. Why? Because we addressed the issue at the disc. The same reason patients that have multiple herniated discs get better is the same reason that these 312 patients that went through our program got better. They had tried the surgery and they didn't get better because the surgeon focuses on one area. And it may be the issue with the entire area. As we take the load off the disc, we're taking load off. So when it's compressed, it's real tight. And what we do is we allow some freedom in there, get some motion, alleviate the load on the disc. This is the magic in our formula. This is the part that we do that nobody else does. And we've perfected this over 25 years. It took a while for us to really figure this out, but through doing MRIs and a lot of unweighting, we figured it out. And we have the ability to address the spine. So we're not just addressing L5, the very bottom one, we're addressing all of them through our process. And each one gets a little bit more functional and gets a little bit better, because we've seen it on the MRIs where the discs get better and the motion gets better through our treatment. And by restoring motion and getting the blood to flow, things feel better. That's the key. So when you have multiple herniated discs, you can get better. You get better in the same way that the surgeries that the doctors have tried failed. They're not addressing the issue. The herniated disc treatment works. It takes time. You put in the time, you put in the effort, you will get better. So I want you to give me a thumbs up. You don't give me any of those thumbs down. I got one of those the other day. I didn't like it. Subscribe to the channel. We do a lot of videos. Share these videos. Share them with your friends. Share them with your family. Anybody that needs this solution for their disc, if they're suffering, we treat a lot of people who have suffered for a long time. Share this information. Ask questions. Got a question the other day, and I'm going to do the video maybe tonight. We'll see. It's getting kind of late. What time is it? I don't know. 7 o'clock. I might do the video tonight on how to get out of bed. Okay? Because if you get out of bed wrong, you're going to make your back pain worse. Call this number, 844-577-7329. We are here to help you. Be careful. Stay warm. Stay out of trouble. Good night.